You can talk to the report that was submitted to AGSA. Are you able? Yes.
Yes, I
When
can.
you are saying that we were misrepresented to that report and distortion of facts.
Thanks, Dupree and Botha. They have consistently advised the police that there was never compliance with the specifications, and there was never a representation of expert or representative of experts as required on the bid evaluation committee, and that according to the assessment that was done, remember there was a complaint was about, and the payment was General Sithole. It was in 2018, 2019. I was not in office since 2017. So I find it difficult to reconcile how then do you blame it on me? And it is on that basis that I say it's wrong. And that's why earlier, me and you agree, Honorable Member, that we don't have to go into the dismissal and so on. But part of what a judge is saying is that I was simultaneously performing those functions of a divisional commissioner and a national commissioner, which is impossible.
Okay. Let's pass that one. In your understanding, what do you understand of political interference in general? Or it may be in SAFs, when we talk about political interference?
Honorable Member, I know we don't have time, but I have traversed that.
I'm saying that you just speak general, not within SAPs, because I'm still going to ask you about paragraph 90.
I only want to talk about SAPs. In as far as SAPs is concerned, political interference manifests itself where political decisions are taken on operational policing issues, which in my view presents us with a challenge of encroachment, because our legislation is not blind. It is very clear on what the role of the National Commissioner is as an accounting officer. His is to implement policies and ensure that policing is happening in the country. So when there is that encroachment, I call it political interference, whether it is in operations, whether it is in appointments. And in my affidavit, I'm making visible there political interference, which is written into the regulations. For the first time, you have got the regulations, the SAPS employment regulations, and I'm making specific reference to paragraphs there, which say when the National Commissioner is to appoint anyone from the level 14 onwards, that is Major General, that must be with the concurrence of the minister. There is no such provision in law. Two people get appointed. The president appoints the National Commissioner. The minister, of course, following a parliamentary process, appoints the national head of DPCI. The rest are appointments by the National Commissioner. So any appointment made by a politician boils down to political interference, except those two.
Then can you elaborate maybe during your tenure the incidents of the political interference within the department?
I'm an example of political interference. That which happened the 1st of June 2017, it's political interference.
What
a minister acting without the authority or the legal authority, something called step aside. I became a guinea pig too. There is no reason why I must not leave because I was not permanently appointed. I'm an acting national commissioner at the time. But the law is very clear. The appointing authority will disappoint. Anyone else who's not clothed with those powers, it's interference. But other than that, I think I had a very good relationship with the executive authority. There was just one incident. And again, it relates to the same minister. And interesting, it relates to the question that was raised earlier about Ket Matlala. There was a guy, he was involved in the killing of the late Bozona, Vusikeke. He also so happened to be coming from Mamelodi. He was on bail. And I was called by a minister who said, but why is this person not in jail? Why are you not arresting this person? And I said, sorry, minister, that person has been granted bail. So if there is another case that we can put on him, but not just put, it must have been investigated, there must be a decision taken to say, lock this person up. The police will act. And I simply refused. That's why maybe the 1st of June 2017 arrived, and I'm sitting home.
For instance, General Phahlane, you are a national commissioner, making an example. You are a national commissioner, and we are not performing. I'm the minister in the department, because if the department is not performing, that failure goes straight to me. Then I'm advising you of the action that you must take, being the politician within a department. Then do you regard that as a political interference?
But Honorable Member,
I'm just asking. Not saying that it has happened, just asking.
I don't find relationship with that in the context of political interference. The minister commissioner must account to the minister on performance. And it can never be wrong if the minister say, but you are not doing your job. We can't crowd foul and say, this is political interference. It can never be. So if that is something that you're just making an example of to make me answer, I'm saying you are not performing or crime is going up, where are your operations, or people are being ill-treated, what are you doing? It can't be political interference. It becomes political interference where decisions and directives are being taken, where you are being instructed to implement the following. Then somewhere you have crossed the line.
Okay.
Chair.
Paragraph 90, okay.
Honorable Malema, sorry.
No, sorry. Honorable. Just a quick one. If a minister sees a dangerous person like Vuskeke, running around, and then he calls a commissioner to say, why is this person on the streets and not in jail? Because we have got some information, it's a public knowledge that this guy killed a person or is dangerous or something like that. Is that a political interference?
Honorable Malema, that's not political interference, but it becomes interference when you say to me, arrest that person, he must go to jail. Why must I arrest the person? Because the person, yes, he may have committed crime, but the court of law has granted him bail. If you are aware of other crimes that he committed, and you are at liberty to say to me, listen, he murdered that one or he did this, and I disregard that, or you raise that with me, it can't be political interference.
So which minister said to you, arrest that guy?
The minister who placed me on step aside.
No, but you must say his name, General. Who are
Minister
here?
Fikile Mbalula, MP, Honorable.
Yes, our terms of reference is to check political interference also. Thank you.
Proceed, Honorable Sokanyile.
Okay. In
Honorable
paragraph
Sokanyile,
90.
please proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. In paragraph 90, you indicate that you are privy to the struggles of Assistant Commissioner. It's Assistant Commissioner Mpejo in awarding of unfettered access to Secret Service account, which he grieved about. What did you mean by this? Paragraph 90.
Paragraph 90, Honorable Member, I meant exactly that General Mpejo was aggrieved with instructions coming, and I'm not going to go specific on this one, coming from the political circle to use the Secret Services account because he was located within the crime intelligence environment. He was actually the acting divisional commissioner. To use that money for properties which he did not do. And that's what I'm referring to there. Any other further information, I think General Mpejo will be consulted by me to disclose any further.
And we are also talking about a political undertone on the appointment of Commissioner Mpejo on the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence. We are talking about it had political undertone. Did you refer to that? What are you referring to?
Honorable Member, if you have regard to this affidavit of mine, remember I spoke about political interference coming from, now I'm talking South African Police Service, having manifested itself since the Polokwane conference. Now, unfortunately, Commissioner Mpejo was seen to be belonging to another faction. And it is for that reason, amongst others, that he was not appointed, because the post was advertised first time. He was recommended that time. Instead of an appointment being made, there was a directive to have the post withdrawn. It was then re-advertised. When it was re-advertised, politicians presided over the appointment of the divisional commissioner, contrary to what the prescripts say.
You are saying that there seems to be a culture in SAPS where there are charges pressed against opponents. If you're fighting with someone, there will be a charge against you. How do you think this matter should be addressed?
Sorry, Honorable Member, where am I? Where are we on the affidavit that which you're referring to?
I'm saying that given the evidence you are providing in your affidavit, then reading it, it seems that to be a culture of charges being pressed against the opponents within SAPS. Then I was saying that, for instance, you are saying that this one will be charged, yourself, you have got charges, another one will be having
Okay.
charges, so and so having those charges. Then how can they be addressed, these issues?
Yes, that is, while I did not talk about opponents, but it is something which is there. You today are sitting with a provincial commissioner of Mpumalanga who has been home forever. Why is that person not in office? A woman in that position, her contract will be lapsing soon. What are the real reasons why that person is not in office? I think there was another one mentioned. I know she was going to come here, General Vuma. How long has General Vuma been sitting at home, and she even reached retirement age without processes against her? You have got Lieutenant General Shezi, and I'm deliberately mentioning women only for now. Lieutenant General Shezi was dismissed. She's answering in court. We are being told that money from service providers.
Why are you specifically mentioning women?
Somewhere the chairperson said, women, our constitution, and I subscribe to that. All right. So you have General Shezi, who is before the courts on monies that were loaned between her and a person. She actually did not even go and loan that money. Somebody was loaning money for her.
And men also, yourself.
Well, I'm the least, not important.
Sokanyile.
General Ngobeni
Thank you very
has
much.
been home forever, dismissed. And my bride came to my office to congratulate me
Thank you,
for,
General
for
Phahlane.
suspending her.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Sokanyile.
Don't
No, we even added 1 minute because Honorable Malema ended. We gave you 1 minute for that. But still the time is over. Honorable Skosana? Or I thought you have, okay. Honorable Mvalo?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, we have a gentleman's agreement with Honorable Skosana that in the event I overlap, I will be eating on his time. So I want you to understand. But I'm not going to take all of
Yeah,
his time.
but I will indicate when yours is
Okay.
gone and you are starting on encroaching on Skosana.
Okay. Good evening, General Phahlane.
Good evening, Honorable Member.
You see, General, I think it's important that I make this statement before I pose some questions to you. When Mr. Nkabinde was here, he narrated a very unfortunate event, if it's anything to go by, of how they established a plot against you and of how they organized themselves in different groups or groupings to launch an onslaught against you, the result of which you lost your job. And we said, we are not going to sleep with a clean conscience, sleeping, having not granted that person an opportunity to come and give his version to this committee. So that is why we supported an idea that you must be brought to this committee and give a version to some of the aspects, but within the confines of the terms of reference. I think it's important because some of us have a practical experience of how vicious the system can be towards black faces and towards black excellence. That is why some people jump like pepcorns when a black person has made a mistake, but they keep quiet when a white man displays white arrogance. It's because some are beneficiaries of the system. So I think that statement is very important to be made. We were touched deeply by the testimony that was made by Mr. Nkabinde, because if what he said is anything to go by, you were wrongly suffocated, and today you do not work anywhere while you have a family. But we are here now to test all the allegations that Mr. Nkabinde made. Let's start here. When you inherited the organization SAPS, how can you describe the state under which it was? I'm asking this because at the first value now, The description that I can give is that there are deep-seated factional battles in SAPS which lead to a certain instability within the organization. When you inherited it, how was it?
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Chair. I happen to have been part of management of the South African Police Service at the time. And I'll just give one example. At a point where I came in, Marikana had happened. Marikana having happened, unfortunately, people being killed. And in one management meeting, it was there in Midrand at the Protea Hotel, there was a discussion about what was happening in Marikana. That meeting was attended by a select few. And that's where the Marikana operation was discussed. The following day, I think when we finished the meeting in the afternoon, some of us were shocked when you saw people being killed in the manner that they were killed. And I'm going fast because we don't have time. So there was a commission of inquiry. In that commission of inquiry, one of the things that was said was that the Marikana operation was a management decision. It was never a management decision. It was of a select few. 44 people died. You have got only 10, the 2 police officers and some security guards or some minors. You have got people like General Mpembe who were hauled before courts on multiple charges for crimes they never committed. But the actual people who were responsible for the killing of the 34 to date are not yet charged. And I'm convinced that that will never happen because IPIT was given the responsibility, or it fell within their mandate to manage that crime scene. They messed up the crime scene in the sense that all the weapons were just loaded without following the protocols onto a truck and delivered in forensics. So you could not derive any evidential value from that. So I'm simply saying, part of it, we were reeling from Marikana at a point where I took over. Secondly, we had an issue when I took over about the bogus police vehicles, which were used to rob people and so on and so on. I think one incident that happened soon after I took over was at the OR Tambo International Airport, where people went in with marked police vehicles and so on, and they took money. I think that was reported. Those vehicles were found somewhere in Mamelodi. But that was the bogus police vehicles. It is on that basis that as management we said we can't allow this situation to happen forever. That is where the process to acquire blue lights, proper blue lights, not these Hong Kong things that you find on top of the police vehicles.
Yeah, no, we will get there, General. We will get there. I'm trying to formulate my line of questioning in a certain way. We're getting there. All I wanted to know is the state of the organization in terms of it being engulfed by deep-seated factional battles. When you got in as the national commissioner, leave the position of being the divisional commissioner.
Yeah.
When you became the national commissioner, were these factional battles that we're experiencing now prevalent?
They were prevalent. Just in that regard, people were misplaced If you take, for example, General Masemula himself, in the era of General Cele, he was a deputy national commissioner. But then he was subsequently removed from that position. In actual fact, some way he must blame me because I was the one targeted to go to Limpopo to become a provincial commissioner, and I refused. He was then deployed there. He left his family in Pretoria. It is me, after my appointment, that I brought him back. There were generals, for example, General Ngwenya was, for example, removed as a deputy national commissioner. She was placed in auxiliary services, a position that was is supposed to be occupied by a major general. So you had a lot of those where people were misplaced. As part of the just reorganizing, we just had to bring people into positions and place them in areas where they could meaningfully contribute.
Okay.
Maybe
Now, is it correct, General, you'll forgive me, I will have to cut you at some point because I've got a couple of questions. Now, the minister gets in, Minister Mbalula, he finds you in the organization. Did he ever assess your performance?
Never.
He never assessed your performance?
Never.
So, and then he invites you, you said you met him in East London, correct?
No.
You took a flight to East London.
No,
where,
to Parliament, to here.
Or to here, to Cape
Ninth floor,
Town,
there
where he was
office.
communicating
Yes.
the decision.
Yes.
So after that, did you try to reach out to President Zuma as the appointing authority to say, this is what the minister is saying. Following that, do you advise me to honor this instruction as the appointing authority, or you just complied without making that effort?
Yeah. Can you allow me to answer this way?
No, you can answer.
One, in my life, I've met President Zuma once. The day that he was appointing me as an acting national commissioner, 14 October 2015. I have never had a meeting or met President Zuma outside any working space.
No, but Mr. General Phahlane, I think the point is not about that. I think what Oram Nomvalo is saying is the appointing authority of the accounting officers is the president.
Yes.
Now, whether you met him or you didn't meet him, now
Yeah.
you are faced with this problem.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to the person who actually appointed you? That's what Oram Nomvalo is actually
Chair,
asking.
I understand the question perfectly. That's why I started by asking, can I answer it this way? I have never made contact with President Zuma because even today I don't have President Zuma's number. And that's the point I'm trying to make, to say I have never. The only time I met President Zuma was when he was appointing me. And then other than that, I met during cabinet sessions when we were presenting. I have not seen or spoken to him after the first, because in any event, the minister, I worked long with Minister Nhleko, was the one that was collaborating with me, managing performance of the police. So I've never.
Yeah, because the widespread established practice is that before a decision is taken, especially a decision which is related to dismissal, a person affected is usually given an opportunity. Sometimes they direct that person to write a letter to explain themselves why they cannot be fired and so on. So that never happened to you.
It never happened. I was hearing when I was at the airport that I was given 24 hours to explain myself, which never happened.
So am I correct if I say your dismissal was influenced by political dynamics?
I've got no reason to believe otherwise.
Okay. I want us to start from when your problems started. In your statement, you spoke about a contract. I think you have named it as a 360 contract. I want us to discuss about this contract. and the blue lights also. If you feel that to a certain extent the discussion will compromise the current court cases, you can indicate and say, no, we can't go to this extent because it will compromise my case. I'm flexible in that regard. Now, the 360 contract, why, or am I correct if I say part of the reasons why a strategy to deal with you was formulated is because of this contract? Am I correct?
Definitely.
Yeah, you can expand.
Yes. Chair, can I proceed?
No, proceed. I'm talking to the committee secretary.
Okay. It is correct that the contracts, and I was listening to one of the committee's witnesses say, this man was not doing work, he kept himself busy with tenders. I have here a report on forensic services, which will show how much ground we have covered. Today, forensic services in the South African Police Service is disaster, it's chaos. The report is contained herein. Part of the contract which created problems for me was the 360.
Yes.
Now, the 360 is a contract that was entered into following irregular processes, specifications not met, and so on. It was awarded. A competing service provider raised issues. That competing service provider happens to be FDA. Now, having raised the issue, we looked at it. And now, if I say we looked at it as forensic services, I pulled experts together. They looked at what was complained about, and they indeed found that there was non-compliance. This contract was not supposed to have been awarded. I then wrote to supply chain management, provided that information. That's actually where my role is supposed to end as the end user. Yes. Supply chain management is supposed to trigger the other processes in terms of the general conditions of contract, engage the service provider, and so on, which they did not do. But the contract, the service provider ultimately lodged a claim.
What was the name of the service provider?
Etemba.
Okay.
They lodged a claim. And once they lodged a claim, there was a process which excluded me. No one ever came to me and say, can you participate? Can you help us? They then settled and paid the 31 million to Etemba.
Yes.
And that 31 million paid to Etemba is now blamed on me. Allegedly, I caused the breach of contract.
Yes, yes.
But even tomorrow, I will never go and buy something which is substandard.
So at the time when the contract was terminated, they already started doing the work, the service provider?
They could not do work because as forensic services, the end user, the experts said, we are not going to be able to use these cameras.
So what is this money for? There's money that was paid to them, correct?
The money was paid for Angas. The money was paid, amongst others, when I see the settlement for computers.
How much general was paid to them in total?
31 million rands.
So the money was paid to a company which has done absolutely nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
Who made that payment?
General Sitole and the CFO who was here. I remember the CFO saying, no, I was not involved, but she's the one who signed as part of the settlement and the payment.
Now, I don't understand here. I'm trying to find logic, General. Why are you being suffocated for this? Because you are the one who wrote to SCM, correct?
Yes.
Who said they must review and so on.
Yes.
The result of which a decision was taken to terminate the contract.
Yes.
And you were not involved in the payment processes. You never authorized any payment. Am I correct?
Honorable Member, you're 100% correct. The records will show my letter, which was directing, starts with the 22 of October 2014, where I said to supply chain management, cancel. And then there is another letter, 10th of May 2015, cancel. I even went to an extent of say, subject this thing to an independent assessment. What that meant is if they did not believe what we are saying as forensic services, let them to say they must go to an independent assessment. But when I left, today it's not done, and the whole thing is blamed on me.
So after they terminated the contract, was there any service provider that was appointed
No,
for the same services?
no.
So what happened to that service that was supposed to be rendered?
I may have lost track, but to date,
There are no cameras.
no service provider has been appointed for the same thing. I know they have been running processes to try and advertise, but
But payments have been made.
payment has been made, 31 million rands,
You, with no services.
no service. And
you know-
unfortunately, the man who was owning that company, after the 31 million, he relocated to Australia.
Yeah,
and
that's where I'm
and I'm reliably informed.
That's where I was going as well. I wanted to ask if you know the director of this company.
Vic Simons, who relocated from South Africa, went back. Whether he comes from there originally, I don't know. But
Is he a South African?
No, I don't think he was. But he went to Australia, and unfortunately, he passed away there with the 31 million.
That is so unfortunate. If it's anything to go by. Now, let's go to the second aspect, the blue lights. When we spoke with, I think with McBride, with Mr. McBride, he characterized you as a dubious character. He said there are cases against you. You, at some point, you had a relationship with a certain service provider. I just forget the name he mentioned, the name of that service provider. But he spoke about the blue lights. Now, what is a problem here in the blue lights?
The service provider he was referring to is the owner of the company called Instrumentation for Law Enforcement. It's a company owned by Mr. Mantata, who has been doing business with the police at least dating back to 2003, 2004. All these vehicles that you see equipped with blue lights, especially of the Presidential Protection Services or Protection Services, the so-called blue light gang, are equipped with lights which Mr. Mantata fitted. Those are, in my view, superior lights. But
Why are they superior?
Superior lights in that the quality is good, the warranty, none of those, according to the contract, those lights, if he has fitted, if it is bought, and the vehicle which was equipped with is boarded, in other words, it's taken out of service, they will replace that light free of charge. If, for example, the light gets damaged, it will be repaired free of charge. So there are a number of services that are included in the whole thing. And amongst others, those lights, you can't buy them from the backyard shops where you see some of these lights are being bought. So in his case, in this, now we are talking blue lights case, between Gauteng and supply chain management, he would have responded to a request for quotation initiated by Gauteng province, sanctioned by supply chain management without me. And then the BAC awarded that contract on a quotation basis to him, to instrumentation. Then there were three orders. First is 10 million. That 10 million happened during the time when I was in office because it was 2017 around March. He fitted the first batch. When I was home, I think it was 29th June, I was already home. The 39 million was awarded by supply chain management between them and Gauteng. General Mutiba was the acting national commissioner then. In 2018, 35 million was given an order. So I'm simply saying 2 of those orders happen when I'm out of circulation. And then we get to hear there are issues. But the issues, as I read the affidavit,
What were they related to? Issues?
the issue basically,
Appointment or payments?
no, the issue was about dual payments. It is there. I read the earlier affidavit of Van Niekerk.
Yeah, can you give context to that dual payment?
Yes.
Chair, I think there's a hand. Honorable Malema.
Or Malema?
Chair, just quickly on Mr. Mantata, he doesn't only do blue lights, if I'm not wrong. He also provide the president with those imported vehicles of BMW with bulletproofs. Am I right?
You're correct, Honorable Member. He also, I think, part of the President's fleet are armored vehicles, even motorbikes. At some point, he provided motorbikes to the same presidential protection. Yeah.
So what was the issue here? You are saying the issue was double payments.
The initial issue was an allegation that there are double payments
Yes.
to the tune of 3.9 million. And now, the unfortunate thing is that the same person who is Van Niekerk that ultimately said they were double payments is the same person who certified that this 3.9 million was paid for services that have been rendered and there is no duplication. So later, that was now in 2018 when I was home, that's when she now reverts back after being called by a Brigadier Buthelezi. And now the Buthelezi say, please check the invoices that were paid to Mantata, to the company. That's when she comes back and say, 3.9 million double payments. But then they make an arrangement with the company to say, here are the additional vehicles that you must equip with blue lights, which he did, and to balance out, the 3.9 million.
Or to settle the
Yes, to settle the overpayment. Remember, we talked 3.9 million.
Yeah.
So of the 3.9 million, there was only one vehicle, which according to the audit, was missed. So if you say maybe he's got money that he did not deliver services for, it would have been 101,000 rands. But even that, it's not true, because when they stopped the payment, he had already done additional 17, 18 cars that the state still to date did not pay for. So if we are to be fair, he's not owing the state owes him.
So people who authorized those payments, were there any actions that were taken against them?
Nothing. I think in my affidavit, I'm talking there about the reports compiled by General Zuma, General Kwena, General Naidu, as well as a Brigadier Matlashela, who were pointing to the people at province and some people at supply chain management who may not have complied with the prescripts, and action was recommended, disciplinary action, not criminal, disciplinary. But
So
nothing has happened.
Your conclusion here, General, is that there was value for money, even though there were double payments, but there was value for money because those double payments were settled
Yes.
through the addition of other cars.
Yes.
Is that your conclusion?
My conclusion is that there were no double payments. The additional vehicles were brought to settle. Secondly, all those vehicles that have been equipped with the blue lights in Gauteng for this particular contract are roaming around the streets of Gauteng with the functioning blue lights, and they continue to be maintained by the same service provider. So there is value for money. Nothing has been lost.
When you say the same, you mean the initial who got a double payments that you are claiming?
Yes, the same.
You mean Mr.
And that's why I say,
Mantata?
Mr. Mantata. That's why I say this thing of 192 million, 86 million, I don't know where they get those calculations for. Because in total, what was paid by the state is 62 million, not 86 million or 100 and whatever million.
Welcome to
It's
your
a dream.
first class seat.
So your evidence is that
Riser
SAPS
recline.
is owing
With
Mr.
its smooth,
Mantata,
quiet
SAPS
movements,
owes-
not the other way around.
plug in
SAPS owes the
and
service
stay
provider
connected
for those
without
additional
moving an inch.
vehicles that were
Fine-tune your position
equipped
for
with blue
perfect
lights,
TV
which
time.
are to date
Head,
not
neck,
yet
and
paid for.
back, just
Okay,
right.
my
Or
colleague
activate
will
the
take
massage
this
system and
further.
let the
Honorable
world
Kosan, I
melt
think
away.
I've
Get
left
30%
5
off and a
minutes.
free massage
If you
system.
say,
Honorable
if
Kosana.
you say I can proceed,
Visit
No, it's actually 10
recliners.co.za.
Yeah.
I don't. If he's donating it to me, Chair, it's okay.
So, Chair, how many minutes do we have? 20 or 30?
Stop taking
20.
meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for
Yeah.
you.
So
it
you are
allows
left
you to
with
focus
10
on your
minutes
meetings,
now.
not your
So you
notes.
took
It
my 10
captures
minutes.
everything.
As you
From
are.
action
But,
items.
but
to key
you
to
said
sit-
that you're going to mention why I said 20. So I thought about, I still have 20.
No, I did indicate to him. He saw me.
But me, you did not.
Sorry.
Okay, but it's fine. I will take the 10 minutes, Chair. But indeed, I think he has, I had the issue of the blue lights and the issue of a timber. I think I'll just make a follow-up on that. On page 1038, on your supplementary affidavit, I hope the general won't walk out as well today. Like what happened earlier, you know. Chair.
Chair, that's never going to happen.
Thank you,
I will
Chair
fully
General.
account, even for the rumors.
Yeah, but anyway, but honorable member right there, you know, Honorable Malema is watching this time. You know.
But
Yeah,
he's not this side.
Yeah, this. I'm sorry.
He's not this side.
The issue of Justice Haramse in 2018-2029, this review court application, I'm going to talk about this Etemba. In your view, General, was that tender awarded truthfully so?
That
Yeah, tender, they deserve to have this tender.
Etemba did not deserve the tender because one, no compliance with specification. Two, you did not have experts sitting there, which means the bid was not properly evaluated.
Yes.
And a number of issues. I mean, one of the simple requirements was that the company bidding must have a 24-hour support service. What that means is they must have that support services in case the cameras are deployed, because those cameras are to be used by the crime scene experts. If there is a camera dysfunctional or breaking down, they must be able to call the center and be able to bring a replacement of have the cameras replaced. In actual fact, in that case, we can't wait for it to be fixed. We needed a replacement. So that was not in place.
So the settlement was 24 million, if I remember well, and what you submitted here. But the money which was paid eventually was 31 million, am I right?
Correct, 24 million, and then the 7 million additional was interest. I don't know how long it took between the settlement and the actual payment, but it generated interest, and that interest was the 7 million, which made it 31.
So no one was disciplined in terms of that unauthorized. In fact, I'm not sure whether it's unauthorized. Let me just use the way that it was a wasteful expenditure, so to speak. Am I right?
It's irregular and wasteful expenditure. You paid money for services not rendered.
So Etemba was owned by who?
But I must answer.
Was it? Is
I
the
must
one which
answer honorable
Matanta?
member's first question.
Yes.
No one was disciplined or charged except Phahlane for that irregularity, which Phahlane had nothing to do with. But the company here is the company owned by Vic Simons.
The one who passed on.
The one who passed on. And
Now-
that Etemba.
So when this money was paid, you were no longer in the. You were suspended.
Yes, I was at home. I was suspended.
I think my colleague Honorable Nomvalo asked. Then why are they blaming you for this payment? In your view.
I don't know. Even the judges say I'm to be blamed. For what reason? Only one day I'll find that reason. I have nothing to do with that thing. And not that one must shy away from decisions that we have taken. I have taken a decision not to buy because there is a contract that was entered into that was irregular. And I've taken a decision that an independent assessment must be done. That independent assessment is not done. So somebody who took the decision to settle and somebody who took the decision to pay, who happens to be General Setole, blames me. I mean, he takes the decision and he comes to blame me. So there is an English I always hear someone using. It's bizarre, to say the least.
So Lieutenant General Reed at that time was the Divisional Co-Commissioner of Supply Chain Management. Am I right?
Yes.
So he took that decision.
Conflicted as he was the Divisional Commissioner Supply Chain Management, appointed by General Setole to preside over my matter. The same environment that failed the subs in that they awarded the contract irregularly, and then the same environment which did not do the independent assessment. He is the same person who takes a decision.
Now, because of time, my 10 minutes gone. I'm going to go back again to the issue of the blue light. Because of what is submitted here, the issue of blue light, who was responsible for the procurement of those blue light? Was it national or was it provincial?
That was provincial. That request came from province because it was beyond their threshold. Their threshold at the time, I think, was something like 300,000. So they had 1,500 vehicles to be fitted. Now, having realized that they will never be able to obtain a quotation under 300,000 to fit the lights, the rules of the game they are to approach supply chain management, the BAC. And the BAC gave them the go-ahead to say, you go and publish, obtain quotations, bring it to supply chain management, because that authority beyond 300 lies with the BAC. And once they tendered there and committees did what they did, supply chain management awarded, the BAC awarded that contract. So it's between Gauteng province and supply chain management, and it did not need the accounting officer.
Now, at that time, there was Major General M.M. Mutlala, am I right?
Yeah.
And Paul O'Sullivan, who was here, he was interviewed on Business News on the 30th June 2025. It's on paragraph 286, 305, and 317. He said that, in fact, there's a distortion of facts and propaganda in respect of blue lights and siren process embarked upon by Gauteng subs. What was the interest of Paul O'Sullivan in this matter, in your view?
His was to spread propaganda. But we do know that once the process was on and some people did not get the contract, they started making noise. Unfortunately, of all these companies, only one company was black-owned. And the contract before was given to a white-owned company. So the reality here was they wanted to continue with that company to continue to feed lights. And when it was awarded to, Idle, to Mantata, that's when Halabalu came. The first question I got actually I was not even aware. It was coming from Gauteng DA, who started raising issues about the blue lights contract. And I went into it and said, as supply chain management, but what is this? And then I was told, no, this is a contract which we ultimately awarded to this one. And I said, but what's the issue? Why don't you just publish so that whoever was bidding knows that the contract was given to that particular person so that we are able to move on with service delivery?
Now, you have a report from the IPIT investigators.
Nkosana?
The time is gone.
Gone.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kola Barnett. So you are forfeiting your right, Honorable Kola Barnett.
No, Chairperson. With your indulgence, I will go first in place of Ian and then my colleague Honorable.
Oh, you are requesting to go first.
If that's fine for you.
You are requesting to go.
You accepted the decision to step aside without hesitation. And again, when you were answering the acting chair, and in paragraph 16, you stated the minister had no authority at all in law to instruct you to step aside. If you believe that the instruction was unlawful, or as you said earlier, you were the guinea pig, why did you comply immediately instead of challenging and writing the same day? And so I do understand that you answered earlier questions that the claims are felt to allow for the space so that the issue can be ventilated. But respectfully, that doesn't really address the legal point. If it was unlawful, why did you not object formally in writing?
I have already said, Honorable Member, I did not object because I was not dismissed on the day. I was told to go home, and it was a step aside. I wanted clarity on what this step aside is, and that clarity you can seek it in that particular meeting. Later on, I'm saying on the 7th, I was then given a notice of intention to suspend, and I testified here to say when I got that notice, I called General Mutiwa, who was the acting national commissioner, to say, are you trying to resolve the mess that the minister have created? And General Mutiwa agreed and was apologetic. But there was I did not have an appetite to go and fight this thing because I'm not glued to the position. I've said so.
Yes,
and
yes,
I
correct.
wanted to allow the investigation process to take its course.
So when you were quoted on the 2nd of June, you were speaking, I think it's to News 24. You agreed to step aside after a constructive engagement with the minister. So you're saying it was a mutual agreement at that point, and only later on the 7th that you felt it was a unlawful instruction.
No, I'm saying I knew on the day that it's unlawful. I knew on that particular day.
Okay, no, but then
I did not raise any issue.
All right,
I went
so
home.
on the 2nd of June, then if you're saying that on the day you already knew it was unlawful,
Yeah.
on the 2nd of June, you made an engagement with News 24, and you said it was a constructive agreement with the minister. So was it an unlawful instruction by the 2nd, or was it a mutual agreement, in your opinion?
It doesn't change the fact that it was unlawful, but I say we had a constructive engagement. I mean, the constructive engagement, the minister, whether he was acting lawfully or not lawfully, he had given reasons why.
Okay, no problems. I heard you said earlier General Mpehu belonged to another faction. What factions are you talking about? Who are the factions? And then, and just shortly, you can explain it, considering that you acknowledge that there's factions. And what do you suggest to get rid of these factions in SAPS?
Do you want me to answer the faction question?
Yeah, and how to get rid of it, but in a very short space, because I've got limited time,
In
please.
the
sir.
first place, we are not supposed to be having factions, irrespective of political affiliation. We all must be serving the general public,
Correct.
which is composed by people. So, all what is required: stop political interference, go back, serve the people according to the oath of office.
Thank you. So I didn't understand the relevance in your original affidavit that you deposed in January. You spoke in paragraph 16. You alluded to a apparent tweet of Honorable Malema. You claim Honorable Malema has posted, "We need to deal aggressively with criminals. And you, Phahlane, should go and McBride should be appointed the permanent police commissioner." What was the purpose of inserting that tweet in your affidavit?
But that tweet is self-explanatory. If you look at
Please
where-
allow me to finish my question, sir.
Okay.
Are you suggesting political coordination? Are you suggesting foreknowledge? Or are you attempting to create a narrative of persecution? I didn't understand the purpose of your tweet, hence my clarification question.
Am I to answer now?
Yes, you can.
It's written, the last sentence of that message.
All right. And you said history has no blank pages. What do you mean by that? In the same section.
Maybe it's too much English. But history has got no...
I don't understand what too much English?
Yes, it's too much
What do you
English.
mean?
No, it's too much English in the sense that it is... History has got no blank pages. In other words, something that is... History has got no blank pages. In other words, something that happened in the past is recorded somewhere, and you can still trace it.
And you're
back.
speaking about that
And that's
tweet
exactly-
specifically,
Yes.
history has no blank pages.
Yes.
All right. I understand. How long were you at home and you were remunerated up until what point?